Gonna be honest, don't really know what I'm doing.
He was often a player that I would buy on Football Manager.
It's already a terrible reason.
From Jon Snow, Matt puts Dan's wardrobe to shame.
You know nothing, Jon Snow.
Look at him, the cat that got the cream.
Ian Taylor said it was the worst thing he'd ever seen in his life.
My theory on referees is you give them the nicest changing room in the stadium.
It's just the most bizarre thing I've ever
Hear me out.
I cannot believe Gabby Agbonlahor is younger
That's
than
crazy,
that.
isn't it?
That's terrible. Yeah, we may well have lost listeners early doors again with a long-winded intro. Go, shoot. Hello, welcome back to the Villa View podcast, award-nominated podcast. Tom, thought I'd get it in early.
It doesn't sound quite as good. Award nominated.
No, we'd like
award winning.
Hopefully, we'll be able to say in a few weeks, award winning podcast. That would be nice. For those of you that don't know, we've actually been nominated for a football blogging award. I've not messed around with getting this in at all. No. I wish I'd not started with it.
It's
now.
at the end of my running order.
Well, you have notes will have to go in the bin,
yeah,
as they normally do. So yeah, we've been nominated for an award, and now we're in it. We want to win it, don't we, Tom?
We absolutely do. So we've been nominated for Best Podcast. Oh dear, what a terrible start.
They're not watching this.
Best Podcast at the Football Blogging Awards, and there's a couple of ways you can vote. You can vote through Twitter, using various hashtags, or you can vote at footballbloggingawards.co.uk. All the information is on the Villa Views Twitter feed, and it's on several Instagram accounts, all that kind of.
It's everywhere
as well. Yeah, so it's really important actually that if you like what we do, that you do vote. You can vote by both mediums as well, so please make the most of it. But it's massive for us, isn't it? We have a great time doing this, as we always say. It's brilliant fun and we love it. But to be recognised by an award like the Football Blogging Awards, that's massive.
It's very surprising as well.
Yeah,
if I'm being honest, we're up against some decent podcasts as well. So all the support we could get would be absolutely massive. So, and thanks for all the support you've given the podcast already, because to be fair, if no one listened to it, we probably wouldn't be getting nominated for awards, would we? So it's a big thing, and we're looking forward to it. Looking forward to the event.
Yeah. So the voting closes on Monday, and the event is on the 17th of May.
Yeah.
So at the Alexandra Palace in London.
Palace.
Yeah. Home of the darts.
Yeah.
So that's going to be fun. We're going to get the whole team there. Me, Dan Rolinson, and Chris Dolan as well, of course. So it's going to be a good night, and we're looking forward to it. But it's a better night if you win.
Yeah. We'd like to win. Once you win it, you want to win it. So yeah, any support gratefully received.
We're at 2 minutes. We've talked
let's
about
stop that now.
the award. Let's move on to the real business. How was your holiday?
Good, yeah. The sun was quite elusive. It only came out the last 2 days, and we cut our holiday short to get back for Villa Derby. I say we cut the holiday short.
Yeah.
I cut the holiday short so that we could be back for the Villa Derby game, which was a good decision because it was a good game. But unfortunately, those 2 days that we missed with our friends, it was very, very hot.
Oh, they stayed
apparently
on?
They stayed on for another couple of nights, yeah, and it was very hot again, apparently. So.
How annoyed was Ange?
She was all right, actually.
Yeah?
She's a good girl. She doesn't get too cross with me.
You are making me look exceedingly pasty. I think it might be, one, the light, but also your...
the light is making you look a bit like Casper the Friendly Ghost.
You're tan. You got a little hue.
I don't know how, because literally when it was a heat wave in Birmingham and London, when I was seeing everyone's pictures on social media, I was wrapped up in a towel on the sunbed, trying to brave the chill.
Robbo stepped in for you.
Yeah,
Tom Robbo Robinson. The Cambridge Mafia was in force last week.
Posh Boys podcast, I think I saw someone say.
Possibly. How did you listen?
I did. I listened on my sunbed, probably in a towel. Mm-hmm. To be fair, I thought it was very good. Actually, I really enjoyed it. I was surprised at how much I enjoyed it. I don't know why. I don't know,
That's good.
Yeah, I don't often, because when I do it, I don't sit there and watch it back or listen to it back, really, unless I think there's been something that was incredibly good in there that I want to see how it turned out. So never watch it.
It's weird listening to yourself though.
Yeah, it's not as fun. So I preferred listening to you and Tom. And Robbo's a very knowledgeable chap, isn't he? He did very well for his debut podcast, I thought.
Somebody said on the comments, best podcast duo so far.
Yeah, I felt that was a little harsh, considering I've done about 45 podcasts and he's done one.
Yeah.
To say that, but everyone's entitled to their opinion.
Yeah. Well, it's good to have you back.
Good to be back.
Chat all things Villa. We've got lots and lots to talk about, so it's going to be a busy show. So we've already wasted 5 minutes of it.
Yeah,
so let's get into the game. Aston Villa 1, Derby 1. You cut your holiday short to be there. Was it worth it?
Yeah, I had a good day. I mean, we'll come on to what I did before the game later on, but yeah, the game, it was a very enjoyable game. I thought we were a bit off colour in the first half when we looked quite vulnerable to Derby on the counter attack. But in the second half, we played well. I think at times perhaps a little one-dimensional in the fact that we just seemed to lump balls into the box, get out wide, cross the ball, see what happens. But in the main, it was causing Derby problems. So that's probably why we continued to do that. And I don't know how it took us so long to score. We had a collection of chances. Eventually, we got the goal, and then it just wasn't quite enough time for us to carry on that momentum. If the goal had come 5-10 minutes earlier, I think we'd have won, because Derby came there to defend, and in the main they defended very well. Scott Carson had a good game. They got lots of blocks in, bodies on the line. I thought Derby defended very well. Wasn't that impressed with them going forward, but then I think that was their game plan. And then, to be fair, they nearly scored a second on the break with that lovely little flick from Vidra. Did you see it, where he put Vyman through? Yeah. It was El Mohammadi actually that ended up blocking it. So I
think it was Chester that blocked it, no?
I thought it was El Mohammadi, but we're both probably wrong, and it was someone else.
I'm pretty sure it was Chester, but I do have a habit of
Chester made a block from another chance, unless I've got my chances mixed up. There's a few good blocks from us as well.
What did you think of Vyman's performance? Because obviously he pickpocketed Taylor for the first.
Yeah.
He came back to haunt us again earlier in the season as well, didn't he? Where he scored. He'd been on a bit of a dry spell, if I remember rightly. Then scored the game before, and then scored against us as well. Or set up one as well. I can't remember. How did you see Vyman playing?
He did well. He looked live. I've got a lot of time for Andy Vyman. Actually, He was with us at a time where we weren't great, but actually in one of the seasons he got double figures. Him, Gabby and Benteke had that very good season in Lambert's maiden season. So there's obviously a good player there. You don't score double figures in the Premier League unless you're a good player. So at the Championship level, for me, he's a very good, effective player, and he caused us problems. He works hard. He does what he says on the tin. Really works hard, gets himself into goal scoring positions, and he's a decent finisher. He's got good movement, and he played well.
He talked about the chances that we had. Codger, Grabban hit the bar. Hourihan had a glorious chance.
Which hit into the ground.
He fluffed his lines a little bit with that one.
Made up for it though for the goal, because the goal came from his shot, and that was a thunderbolt.
It certainly was. Yeah, we'll come on to that as well. But these chances that we had so many of, it's positive to see that Villa are creating the chances, and you see the little 1-2s between Jack Grealish and Hourihan and some of these other players as well. The creation is there, if not the finishing. Can we take the positives from that into the playoffs?
Yeah, I mean, sometimes it's just one of those days, isn't it, where you can't seem to catch a break, and it did look like we may get away without scoring until Grabban tucked it away. But any game where you're having 22 shots, I think you've probably played quite well. I mean, in the second half, I thought we were very good.
Yeah, no, it's positive. I think the main thing that I want to take away from this is the points really don't matter.
Well, it didn't matter, did it?
It didn't matter.
No.
Yeah. So that's fine. We'll go into Millwall and we'll talk a little bit about Millwall, because there's some selection choices to be made. But it is the chances and it's the chemistry that's most important. And when we go to Middlesbrough, most likely away and home, we want to be tearing them apart, because I think the creativity that we played with against Derby, if we can show that in 2 legs against Borough, then we should have no problems.
The away leg's the key leg. For me, at home, I would back us against anyone. I know we've lost the odd silly game, but when the big games have been at Villa Park, we've turned up and we've done well. We've won well in most cases, and you know the atmosphere that night will be absolutely superb. You know that it'll be one of those nights that you'll remember for the rest of your life. Like I think back to Inter Milan when I was a kid at Villa Park, Ajax. It's this season, the Wolves game, the Birmingham games, the atmosphere was incredible. So you know it's under the lights as well. You know that'll be a packed house. It'll be a night to remember, hopefully, for the right reasons. Yeah. It's just the away leg. We've gone to grounds. I know we beat Ipswich recently, but we've been to other grounds recently and not turned up. You have to turn up in the playoffs. If you don't turn up against Middlesbrough, they will beat us well in the second leg. Would be difficult. So it all hinges on that away leg for me. If we come away with a credible.
Yeah.
We come away with a credible result.
Podcast nominees.
Middlesbrough's ground, then we stand a very good chance.
Yeah.
I got some stick actually off a Middlesbrough fan on Twitter for something I've said in the podcast that I don't remember saying. I think I must have said I'm not scared of Middlesbrough.
I've definitely said that.
I'm not really scared of anyone in this league, because, as I say, in the big games we've shown that we can beat the team. If Brentford had been in the playoffs, I wouldn't have fancied playing them, because we can't seem to beat them.
Yeah, it's always ugly.
But we've played Middlesbrough twice this season. We haven't conceded. we've won one and we've drawn one. So from that respect, I'd be relatively confident of beating them. But I know playoffs is a different animal.
Well, we had a question earlier on in the month about your ideal playoff draws, and I think I put Middlesbrough. I'd like to meet them in the semis because I do think that we could do a job against them, home or away, and then I fancy our chances against a different type of team at Wembley. After all, we'll talk a little bit about the playoffs now, but I just want to, in a minute, but I just want to talk about Lewis Grabban for a second. He got his 20th goal of the season, and I think I said this to Robbo last week. He could become the first player to play for a relegated and a promoted team in the Championship. 20 goals in the Championship for two different sides. That's a phenomenal achievement.
Is he the Golden Boot at the moment, or is someone else ahead of him?
I think it was Vidra was leading.
As Bobby Reid was knocking around as well, wasn't he? Bristol,
I don't know exactly who's leading at the moment going into the last day of the season, but he's definitely challenging.
Yeah, he's been incredible, really. Like, I didn't think we needed him as we know, which again, not a good advertisement for the podcast. Really, I just thought we had enough strikers, and I don't think I realised or appreciated how good he actually was. Because I've always thought of him as a bit of a journeyman. He's been at lots of teams, Norwich, Bournemouth. He's been around the. I said he's been at lots of teams there, and could only think of two teams that he's been at. Sunderland. So he's been around the block, really, and I've never seen him as a goal scorer. God, he's been a goal scorer for us. To be fair, he scores all kinds of goals as well.
Well, he's literally the one that's kind of in and around the box. I hate that phrase, but he is there and he's ready to pounce. His reactions are so good. And like you say, it was Hurahan's shot that created the chance. But Grabban always seems to be the first one that's going to react, and he just takes a chance on those kind of balls.
Well, John Terry did incredibly well for that goal as well, because most people would probably just chucked a foot at it and saw what happened, but he managed to have the composure to just lay it off to Grabban, which I'm not sure many players would have had that kind of composure in that position. So for a defender to do that shows you how cultured he is. It was a good assist for him, to be fair, and a good. I feel like it's like another player on a streak a little bit. Like, I think he's playing above himself, if that makes sense, with Grabban at the moment. Because earlier on in the season, it was Adoma who was that one who kept finding himself in the right place when he was on a hot streak. So I think Grabban's on a real hot streak at the moment, and maybe he's playing at a level that even he didn't think he was capable of.
Well, he looks like he's enjoying his football as well. You talked about some of the clubs there, and with no disrespect to them, Aston Villa is a big club if you talk about the ones that he's also played for. So maybe he's relishing that opportunity to play in front of 40,000 fans.
And also, when he's moved out wide, he looks quite dangerous. Yeah. Dangerous still. He's got a decent pass on him. I think he's with Grabban. He's got a little bit of everything. He can get in behind. He can hold the ball up. He's decent in the air. He's got a powerful shot. So he has got a bit of everything. So at the moment, for me, he's got the shirt as Villa's number 9, for want of a better phrase, and it's going to take something big for him to lose that shirt. Yeah,
there was a couple of speeches after the game. Obviously, Villa's last home league game of the season, not including the playoffs. Steve Bruce made a little speech. He kind of thanked the fans. He said, hopefully you've seen a little bit from the players, and hopefully we're on the way back again. That's got to be the aim for a club like ours. Was it a well-received speech from Steve Bruce?
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, in home games especially, Steve Bruce gets an awful lot of love.
Right.
I think so. I think he has been really, really appreciated. When they were doing the lap of honour, he came down and did the bow to the whole 10. So he's done an awful lot of good. I know he's got his detractors still, but he has done a lot of good. And me and you have often spoke about what must he have walked into.
Yeah.
He must have fought a lot of fires for me. So although I do think we could have done a little bit better this season, although if you think how close we've ended up to second, it is frustrating that we couldn't have just won a couple more games. But I look back on the season on the whole, and I think he's made mistakes, but all managers will have made mistakes. But overall, his impact since he's been at this club has been incredibly positive, and I think he's done very well.
Yeah, John Terry also said the support had been superb, and now everyone needs to get behind us throughout the playoffs. We've got to do it. Aston Villa is a massive club, should be in the Premier League. Togetherness is pivotal to our success. He's kind of embodied that togetherness, hasn't he? I feel like he's one of these core guys that's brought the team back together.
He's a big part of it as well. I don't think you can underestimate the job he's done since he's come in, because standards will have immediately raised when he walked into the building, but he knows what's required to build a good team spirit and build a winning team. John Terry, I mean, to be fair, I don't think they were going to ask him to say anything, but as captain, I think he thought, I'm going to come here and I'm going to say something, and he was the one that made Gabby come over and talk. And Gabby hasn't really played a part for Villa this season at all, except for the first game of the season. But John Terry will look at that dressing room and think everyone is a part of that and everyone is one. So even him just getting the fans to give Gabby a round of applause and make Gabby a speech, it tells you what kind of a captain and a leader he is.
Now, I don't want to talk too much about Gabby Agbonlahor because we have talked about him a lot on the podcast over the last few weeks and months, really. But he obviously was sent off, as in not sent off the pitch.
I didn't say that.
But he was sent away from Villa Park with a kind of rousing applause. There was a lot of support for Gabby, and kind of maybe fans who disliked him or kind of thought he should have gone a long time. I mean, a lot of us thought he should have gone a long time ago, but yet he still seemed to get a bit of an ovation.
Yeah, he got a very good reception. I didn't hear anyone...
Reception is the word I was looking for, that whole spiel. Goodness me.
I didn't hear anyone say anything bad about him, to be honest. Everyone seemed to be up and applauding him. My dad didn't get up, but then nowadays he's not the most mobile.
Tough on the hips.
Anyway, yeah.
Tough on the hips.
I told my dad, we were walking to Villa Park as an aside, walking to Villa Park from the car on a Saturday, and I said to my dad, well, you're closer to 70 than 60, Dad. And you'd think he'd know his own age because he's 66, but he was like I'd shot him. He just looked completely demoralised. He'd not realised.
And that's tough.
He'd not realised that.
I remember when you turned 30 and you had to take some time in a dark room.
Yeah, so what must it feel like to turn 70?
Yeah.
That was just a little story
there you go.
that I thought I'd tell. But yeah, he got a good reception, Gabby. He's been around a long time, and whichever way you look at it, I know that he's given me a lot of happy memories. I'm sure he's frustrated me on a number of occasions as well, but in the main, I'll remember those big goals more than anything else.
So there's still a couple of anything else, from the derby game that you wanted to bring up?
I'll talk about Glenn Whelan a little bit. I thought he was superb.
Yeah.
I thought he was man of the match for Villa. I think he's no frills, but I think he did everything that's expected of someone playing in his position. Some of his passing was actually really good. And I was thinking about when he was in the team earlier in the season, and he went through a phase where he was struggling around Christmas, made a few mistakes, looked off the pace. But I think that's actually because we played him too much.
Yeah.
He's had a bit of a break in the second half of the season. Every time he's come in, bar trying to score 2 own goals against Cardiff, he's done very well.
Yeah.
And I think he's a good player, and I think he'll be a big part of the playoffs now in there, and a bit of know-how. I thought he played really, really well on Saturday.
Yeah, we've utilised him a little bit more in the last few games where there's been a couple of injuries to cover for, but I think you're right. He does everything that's asked of him. He doesn't try to do too much, and with the exception of the own goal attempts, he's been a real credit to the club. Do you think overall, because again, Whelan, like others, has his detractors and quite vocal.
There's not too many Villa players that don't have the detractors. We're very not hostile, like a demanding support, aren't we?
You're right. I think Villa fans generally, if you don't have a very long leash, do you, as a player?
But look at Grealish. I remember the summer, Grealish would have been getting criticised, and now people are saying he's the best player in the league, our best player. But it wasn't that long ago. Fans were giving him a little bit of stick as well.
So does Glenn Whelan, if we go up, does he leave? And if we stay in the Championship, does he leave? That's the question.
I think he'll stay whichever.
Regardless.
Yeah, he's got a 2-year contract, so he'll be here next season.
But can he play a useful role in the Premier League, do you think, still?
Well, someone said something to me on Twitter about, well, look at Stoke without him. Because they've struggled, haven't they? But they were signing a host of central midfield players when he was there, but it always ended up being Whelan that was back in the team because he was reliable. So I think that's a valid point.
That's a great
Stoke
point.
Haven't been anywhere near the relegation zone the last few years while he's been playing in midfield, and now they're almost certain they're going to go down.
A good point to whoever made that point.
I've completely forgotten who said that to me, but I really did think that was a valid point.
Let's have a quick look then at the table. There's still all to play for, not necessarily for Villa, but at the top of the playoffs and the bottom.
There's literally nothing for us to play for. Nothing can happen to us there.
Yeah, so if this is your source of news, one, check where you're getting your news from because it's poor. But
a bit harsh.
But well,
yeah.
I mean,
carry on.
It's self-deprecating.
Yeah, that's what people like.
Yeah.
Criticise ourselves so much.
All right, so Wolves win the league. Forget about that. Cardiff on 89, Fulham on 88. So still all to play for the second automatic promotion place. Villa in fourth there on 83. Middlesbrough look comfortable on 75. So then the sixth place is is the one to play for. So Derby currently occupy at 72 points. 2 points behind them is Preston, and 3 points behind Derby is Millwall on 69. So Millwall are also nine goals behind Derby, so we can effectively rule them out.
Swing between Derby and Middlesbrough could potentially happen because Middlesbrough's goal difference is plus 22 and Derby's 19. So if Middlesbrough lose and Derby win, there's a chance that could be switched around and we end up playing Derby.
Yeah. So looking at the fixtures for the last game of the season, you've got Birmingham v Fulham and Cardiff v Reading. That will decide second and third, and then you've got Preston at home to Burton. Which you think that they should do a job there, Preston?
Saying that, all those teams need points. Burton, Birmingham and Reading.
That's true. Burton are fighting for their lives down the bottom, as are Birmingham. But then Derby play Barnsley. Barnsley also on the same points as Burton.
Yeah.
So what a last day of the season it's going to be at both ends of the table. And then Middlesbrough are away to Ipswich. Ipswich are kind of on the beach. They've been on the beach for a long time.
You'd think Middlesbrough would win that.
But yeah, they have to travel, so that'll be interesting nonetheless.
I wouldn't like to do an accumulator there. I think that's difficult to pick. Like, it's funny how it's fallen, really, isn't it? With all those teams having stuff on the line. The
advantage for Preston and Derby is they're both obviously at home against relegation strugglers. So you think that Burton and Barnsley's away form probably isn't that good. That's why they're down the bottom there.
I've got no factual base on this, but I've got a feeling Preston have struggled at home for some reason. I don't know what. That could be completely false.
Okay.
Burton have dug themselves out the last few weeks. They've won a couple of games, haven't they?
Yeah. It's also worth noting that Bolton can still get out of there. They're playing Nottingham Forest at home. So even Reading could still get relegated at this point, and they're 19th. So you're looking at a real swing down the bottom. That could be very interesting. In the midst of all that, Millwall and Villa meet at the Den.
The Dragon's Lair, Harchester United's old ground on Dream Team. Did you used to watch that?
I did,
It's the Dragon's Lair, isn't it?
I tended to watch Dream Team if I was off sick from school.
Okay.
It was on Sky 1 at 12:30 or something in the afternoon.
And then he moved to Sunday primetime.
Did it?
After a few series, yeah. He did. I used to love Dream Team.
Nice. Millwall would have to beat Villa 9 or so nil to stand any sort of chance. So, I mean, anything could happen in football, but hopefully
I'd be upset if we lost 9-0 going into the playoffs. Let's be honest.
It wouldn't be ideal.
You've shut that away, and I was looking at it.
What else would you like to look at?
I was just thinking, who do you reckon is going to get second? Because that's quite pivotal, because they'd be the team that would end up finishing third would be the ones you'd think if we were to get there you'd end up playing in the playoff final.
To quote Kevin Keegan, I would love it if Fulham made it. Because I think Fulham are a better side. I'd like to see them in the Premier League.
See, I thought of that, but then my boss watches quite a lot of Fulham,
right?
Because his girl is involved with the Fulham Ladies Academy or whatever, I don't know what it's called, and he was saying he went to Fulham recently. He said they have been ordinary.
Really?
And he watched them at the weekend, and they were ordinary when they beat just snuck past Sunderland 2-1 on Friday, didn't they?
Yeah.
So they're winning. I mean, they haven't lost for something ridiculous. They've 25 games or something stupid, and Mitrovic has been a real find.
Yeah.
But I think Brian Little was very confident that we would beat Fulham as well if we had to face them. So now I just kind of think whatever happens, happens.
That's totally it. Well, I mean, let's get on to the playoffs then, because it was
the moment we hope we'd never have to go through.
Yeah, for sure. Playoffs are. You have to be confident. I think confidence is key in the playoffs. I don't totally subscribe to it being a lottery. I subscribe to it being a form game. Football is, by its very nature of being a sport, there is an element of luck in it. But if you're carrying in your top form, you've got your best players available, more often than not, you're going to win those games. And the fans play into that as well. But I just think it's really important that we have a good game against Millwall and we go in confident, because I just think that the team spirit is going to be massive.
You say that, but I actually don't think the Millwall game means anything. I think the general run-up to the playoffs has been good that we've gone 4 unbeaten or whatever it is now, but I think if we lose to Millwall with a reserve side on Sunday, I don't think that makes a difference.
What a reserve side is interesting. I don't know if you read the article that Aston sent through on Twitter.
I mean, to be honest, Aston doesn't usually offer any real insight, but on this occasion I think he has offered some interesting view. Yeah,
all right, to give it a bit of background, a few people on Twitter, Ben Kennedy, Gareth Thomas, Simon O'Regan, Aston Radford and Linda Pallot, I'm going to go with.
I doubt it's Palo.
Palo? I think, Linda, if you want to rebrand that, then you really should. You go for
I think
some
she's
sort of
probably
foreign,
not. She's probably not going to rebrand that.
some Parisian theme there. Linda Palo. That's not from
You've been
Paris.
spending too much time away.
That's true. So a lot of people asking what the best plan of attack is for Millwall, and that's an interesting point you raised. Do you think the players already know that it doesn't matter, so they don't? Even if they lost 2-0, 3-0, they wouldn't mind so much?
I liken it to when you know you've got a cup final coming up. You don't want to get injured. So if we're playing our first choice team, I can't imagine them being full throttle.
Yeah.
Obviously, some will have to play. You've got Aston's rules there that he's told us about.
I do, yeah. So I had it on my phone, but I read it earlier, so I kind of know what he's talking about.
God, this could be anything. Could be getting explained here now.
So Aston said, what would your starting 11 be? Bearing in mind that the new rule that came in this season,
I must admit, I didn't know about this.
yeah, was that you are no longer allowed to completely change your team. So there has to be 10 players that were on the team sheet from your last game. So they don't necessarily
10
have
of the 18.
Exactly. They don't have to have started or even come on, but they do have to have been on the team sheet. So you could theoretically change the majority of your team, keep Sam Johnston, keep John Terry and keep, I don't know, Robert Snodgrass, something like that.
Yeah.
And then the rest of them you could kind of change up. But it
So
had
we
to
can take 8 out of the squad, is what you're saying?
Yes.
What would happen if you had 10 players who got a flu bug?
I think it's if you fall foul of this, then you get
Investigations.
You get investigations, and you ultimately get fined by the EFL. So if it proved that everybody was actually sick, legitimately sick, then you should probably escape punishment.
I mean, you'd probably get away with it if you. I mean, the EFL have deemed that Mendes is nothing to do with Wolves, haven't they? So their judgment's obviously a bit off.
Impaired somewhat. Yeah. So going back to that though, how many players do you think you would change? What would
8.
be your lineup?
I'd rest 8 players.
Would you?
Yeah.
Go on then, talk us through your lineup.
Well, I haven't thought about it. So.
No, you're on the spot here.
See, I wouldn't play Chester, but he's played every minute since he's joined, so he's bound to want to play in this game. First one that you leave at home automatically is Grealish. He goes nowhere near the Dragon's Lair.
Yeah.
Because you don't want him getting kicked up and down like he does every game against Millwall. John Terry stays at home.
Yep.
I imagine he'd have got a lovely reception being an ex-Chelsea boy from the Millwall fans, so he would stay at home for me. Trouble is we're a bit light on centre-back, so Chester will probably end up playing with Jedinak. I would think I wouldn't play Hutton, although he probably needs the minutes. But looking at the difference of when he was at left back and when Taylor was at left back, like it or not, we were more effective with him on the pitch. Taylor's confidence just looks like it's absolutely shot at the moment. So I'd be tempted not to play Hutton. Wouldn't play Connor. Probably wouldn't play Snodgrass. And I probably wouldn't play Grabban, although he's up for the Golden Boot, so he'll want to play, so it's difficult.
Would you play Albert Adoma?
Try and play him back into form a little bit. I think I probably would play Adoma, and at the moment, in the nicest possible way, and obviously he's been unbelievable for us this season with goal and assist output and all-round contribution. At the moment, I think there's other players that can play there, potentially at the same level he's playing at the moment. Mm-hmm. He looks a bit jaded still. Adoma, he's not at his best, and when we make a sub, it always seems to be him that comes off at the moment. So maybe try and play him back into form.
I'd like to see Hogan back. Give him a few minutes. A couple of questions.
Codger will play.
I was going to say, Gareth Thomas says, would you play Codger and Onuma for the 90?
Onuma made a difference when he came on. He wasn't on for that long, but we looked a lot more dangerous when he came on. He seems to have upped his game. Again, raised his game to the level it was at the start of the season. He made a real impact when he came on Saturday, I thought.
Mm-hmm. And related to that slightly,
Lansbury.
Good shout. PMT 3000. Who is the best when they're both fully fit and on form? Jonathan Codger, Lewis Grabban.
I don't think there's much between them.
Yeah.
To be honest, at the moment, as I say, Grabban has got the shirt, and he's going to take a lot to take that away from him. I'd be surprised if Codger started any of the playoff games. I think he'll be used as an impact sub.
It'd be good to see him. Good to see him start against Millwall, though.
He'd like a goal. Oh yeah, he'll play that. He'll play Sunday. Sorry, no doubt. But I would be very surprised unless there's injuries, if he started any playoff game.
So I'm trying to work out the team at the moment because you've got.
I'm not giving you much to go with there.
Hogan should be playing. Codger should be playing. Grabber might play. Adoma might play. We look a little bit heavy up front.
Because Adoma can play wide right. Barney, and play Grabban on the left.
Would you play
Codger
him
up
wide
front.
right? Because he's done his best football on the left.
He can play there though for the sake of this game. I don't see this game as being anything that's going to matter, and I don't see it being 100 miles per hour from Villa at all. I wouldn't play Sam Johnston.
Yeah.
I'll give Bunn a game. He hasn't played all season, just in case anything was to happen to Johnston. Bunn's had a game, and you don't want to risk anything happening to Johnston in the game because he's our number one goalkeeper.
Anything could happen in football, couldn't it? Josh,
Plus, he got up through a few threats, didn't he, Johnston? He kicked that ball into the Millwall crowd by mistake in the home 0-0 draw, and he was getting threats on Twitter, wasn't he? That we do a pitch invasion on our last game of the season. We're never going to forget this. And we're going to get you. Leave him at home.
Can you imagine?
Just in case.
Goodness me. Josh Parker, then. This is an interesting one. How do you get the players pumped up for a game like Millwall? Do you think they all just have an understanding that lads, don't worry about it, concentrate on next Saturday? What do you think Steve Bruce says?
I think what Steve Bruce will say in public will be very different to what he says behind closed doors, and I think what the players say will be different as well. It is a nothing game because our position doesn't change based on where we finished. There's more things that can go wrong with injuries if you play your strongest team than the benefits of playing them for me. So it's just not worth it.
Yeah. Are you nervous about this game?
Not really. No.
About injuries or about. You seem quite nervous.
No, I just don't think Bruce will do it. I think he'll rest a lot of players. He'll rest as many as he can. The difficult ones are the Chesters and the Grabbans because they have got something resting on it. Chester will want to continue that record of playing every minute since he's joined Grabban or want the golden boot. So it's difficult to drop them. But the people like Grealish and Horahan, Snodgrass, there's just literally no point playing them because they'll be in our strongest 11.
Yeah,
there's no point.
Save them for Borough.
Yeah,
or whoever we play. But yeah, so there is some information about the playoffs that has come out since we last did a podcast. Like we say, likely opponent will be Middlesbrough or Derby. So your season ticket, if you have one, doesn't cover playoff games. I think that's always been the way for all EFL clubs.
People were saying the wording of Villa's website was a bit off,
right?
Potentially, but I was never of the understanding that my playoff ticket would be part of my season ticket.
Yeah.
It's like a cup competition for me.
Yeah, generally, I don't think season tickets do cover.
I don't think Villa have got a choice either.
Right.
I think that's worth mentioning. I think the EFL take quite a lot of the pot of money that comes in. So if Villa were to say our season ticket holders aren't going to pay, I think the EFL would have something to say about that.
Yeah. So our games will be Saturday the 12th of May, because there's also one on Friday night before that. 5:15 kick-off for telly. And then the follow-up is the Tuesday the 15th of May. So quite a quick turnaround. Again, that's a 7:45
I find
kick-off.
that a bit bizarre. There's time to make them to be a week in between the games for me.
Yeah.
I don't know why they're so close together. If anyone does know, they could inform me.
Do you think it's do you think it's because some nations will have players coming from to the World Cup? But
then there's such a gap to the final. The final's not till the 20-something.
Oh yeah.
So there's like the final is 2 weeks from that first playoff game.
So you could just play Saturday.
And then there'd be a week in between everything.
Yeah.
And then there seems to be there's a really long gap between the second semi-final and the final.
Oh mate, if we make those are going to be nervy podcasts.
That'd be
We won't have anything to talk about, and we'll just speculate.
We'll be utilising the squad because I won't want to be a part of that.
Woody Woodward says, "Is that your real name?"
I would very much doubt it's his real name.
You would very much doubt it. Oh goodness!
It's like looking at your Twitter handle, Tom J Sayers, and saying, "Is Tom J Sayers his real name?" Is the same?
Well, no, because Woody is a first name and Woodward is a second name.
Woody's not a popular first name unless you're a cowboy in a Pixar movie.
He says, "Is it better to have the away leg first than at home?"
For sure.
Yeah.
Well, if you finish third or fourth, it's supposed to be giving you some kind of advantage because you finished higher. So I'm not sure what the statistics are, but I'd much rather play away first.
I'd love you to give us the statistics.
I'd love you to be able to say statistics.
Fair enough. Anything else you want to say on the playoffs, on Millwall, on those kind of subjects?
I don't think so. Just while I mentioned your Twitter handle, should we come on to the unnamed Tom Julian section that I've invented for today? I'm not sure how well it's going to go down, but I'm going to try it.
So, I am completely in the dark here, but Dan texted me yesterday and just said, "Can you please leave a gap in the running order for an as yet unnamed feature?" So
not often I ask for something like that.
I mean,
either, is it?
It literally is in the running order here,
Yeah,
but
I can
it's
confirm.
way down, way
Yeah,
down.
but I thought now was a good time.
Right, go on then.
To chuck in a bit of hijinks.
Okay.
In the middle of the podcast.
I'm really nervous.
You don't need to be. But you should maybe a little bit.
Usually, I'm the one that controls
No,
the game.
that's what I thought. I thought
Yeah.
when you gave Robbo a game last week, I was like, I'm not having this. He needs something given against him, but I couldn't think of anything.
I've actually got one
Did you?
lined up for Dolan.
Oh, okay. That's the Boots game.
Yeah.
Yeah, right, there you go. You kept
Ruined it.
you kept that hidden from him. Although he doesn't seem to listen when he's not in it, Dolan.
No, that's
Gets a
true.
bit sulky, doesn't he? Anyway, I digress. A while ago, Matt and I did a video where we looked back over our old Villa tweets
Oh,
to see how bad they were. And if you haven't watched that video, they were horrific. If you go type in the Villa View tweets or Twitter, you'll find it somewhere. There were some absolute howlers in there. I'd like to say mainly from Matt, but I had my fair share as well. So I thought, I'm just going to go back. Let's have a look at some of the things Tom might have said previously.
I can't
On
believe you've
Twitter.
done this much homework.
No, I don't do it often, do I? But anyway, I've come to the conclusion you must have got rid of stuff or not used hashtags great, because I didn't find too much dirt. And I asked Rollo to help me and he didn't do it. But I found a few little tidbits
Right, okay.
of stuff you've
I will
said.
probably say that I don't tweet as much as you, so therefore I don't say as many wrong things.
Maybe, but there is the first one I've got here, 4th of the 3rd, 2013. Brad Guzan is the best thing out of America since ... Brad Friedel. That got no likes, or no retweets.
I probably had 100
I
followers.
thought, was that an attempt at humour from Tom, or was he being serious? Like I wasn't sure what was going on with the tweet. Was my main issue.
I probably was serious. 2013.
Yeah, I
Brad
mean, he
Guzan
had a good season then, I believe.
Doing the job.
Yeah, he had a good
I mean, I
season
wasn't
then.
into NFL and stuff then either. So.
This is
Obviously.
incredible, I thought. To Sky Sports News on 8th of January 2012, obviously you wanted McLeish to get the sack and you were suggesting who the replacement should be.
Sky Sports News is my future employer.
And these were the two that you came up with. One of them's just about passable. The other one, I've got no idea what you were thinking. Juan Pablo Angel back to Villa. Either him or Gareth Southgate. Get a bit of passion fired back into the lads.
I say-
wanted to have Juan Pablo Angel back as manager, but he'd not managed and still hasn't managed anywhere.
Where has that come from?
I don't know.
I literally
It's
have no idea.
naivety of the highest order.
Yeah, I was obviously going for players who love the club. Juan Pablo
Well,
Angel must have been a fever dream.
If you think that was your worst managerial show,
Oh,
there's a
God.
worse one coming up here.
Right.
And Tom Robinson, Robbo, who did the podcast last week, set you up here. And to be fair, he's going to come under fire because he started this. He said to you, Tom, would love to see someone youthful manage Villa like Lee Clark or Gus Poyet. Lee Clark! And then he said, come out with a good manager in the midst of that, George Sampao, who's a good manager.
Right.
To which you said, Lee Clark would be great. Reiterated he wants to do a job at Huddersfield now, though. Maybe tempted by the Prem. Obviously, we all know that Lee Clark went on to nearly relegate Birmingham City from the Championship.
He must have been doing well at the time. What's the date stamp on
Oh,
that?
sorry, the 5th of February 2012.
I've lost my pen, otherwise I'd write this down and check.
No, it's fine.
I mean, it's there.
Yeah,
It's there for everyone to see.
Next one.
I'm surprised you haven't retweeted these.
No, well, I didn't want to spoil it. I didn't want to spoil it
Oh,
for
yeah.
you. Next one. This is Tom when he's angry.
Oh, no.
I think 3rd of November 2012 at Darren Bent. In quotes, picked up a foot injury? ? Do the decent thing and admit to Villa fans you're off to QPR to pick up your next check. Angry Tom.
Well,
Getting angry at
couple of drinks in.
Getting angry at Darren Bent.
Oh, poor old Benny.
And then he gets it. Actually, this has gone better than I expected. They're worse than I imagined. This is 26th of July, 2015. Gutted that West Brom are close to signing Diaby. Been saying for a while that Villa should bring him in on a pay-as-you-play deal. Class player. I feel like he didn't play again after that tweet in 2015.
Yeah, I mean, that's the problem. That's why you get him on a pay-as-you-play. That's quite a clever tweet, there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
I mean, he was a good player, he just never really...
you wouldn't have wanted him even on pay-as-you-play. It would have been a waste of money.
He never realised his full potential, let's say.
Yeah. Last one. 15th of the 5th, 2015.
It's really uncomfortable.
Imagine how me and Matt felt. We
Yeah.
went through it for ages. Tom Julian, Tom J says, I have a ticket for the FA Cup final. Best birthday present ever comes from Dan Bardell.
Ah.
Cheers, pal. That's a nice tweet.
I remember that, and I had a barbecue, and
Yeah.
you turned up, and you gave me a card and gave
I
me
was
my
very
Villa
kind
ticket.
back in the day. I've become more nasty.
I mean, I had to
as
buy the
years have
ticket.
gone.
He didn't just give it.
But I sourced it for you.
Yeah, you did.
Even in 2015, I was quite resourceful.
Yeah, that's great.
That's it. That segment's over. I'm sure there's more. I didn't have a thorough look, but yeah, I think your use of the AVFC hashtag must have been quite poor.
Yeah,
because there wasn't loads there.
Do you remember the first time we put this out, and I think I tweeted AFVC? So that maybe tells you all you need to know about my quality. I used to run social media for a
I
couple
forgot
of
about
people. So that shows how good I am.
Enjoyable
on my job.
segment.
Yeah, thanks.
So no worries. Thought I'd do it.
See, putting in the homework sometimes pays off, doesn't it?
I've got to admit, you've come off a lot better than me and Matt came off after that
Sure.
video.
I feel a bit hot under the collar.
Yeah, it's uncomfortable listening to things that you've said.
Very much, very much. Right,
Yeah.
should we get back?
Yeah, sorry.
Right.
I enjoyed that.
Oh, good. Villa's home attendance, best
Yeah.
in the Championship.
Not a surprise.
No?
No, full house on Saturday, and the atmosphere was banging, and they stayed with the team as well, which I liked.
Yeah.
On Saturday, even at 1-0 down, we didn't get answer. Stayed with the team, could see they were putting it in and making chances. Enjoyable.
Do you know how many people have attended this season so far?
I did see it, but I'm not 700,000 or something.
738,219. More than 43,000 more than the next team.
Who was
which
the next?
is-
Wolves?
No, you've
No.
got one more guess.
So, no, not Sunderland. They've got the biggest ground probably, but
But nobody wants to
no
sponsor
one
them.
goes there. Poor Sunderland. That was us. Sunderland. If
Could have been.
Dr. Tony hadn't taken over, that was 100% us.
Did you see that the Sunderland official tweeted as well that Sunderland under-23s got relegated this season as well?
God,
it's just tragic.
It's a season to forget. Not much to look forward to there. Even their new ownership thing sounds suspect to me.
Yeah.
Like the owner of Eastleigh
Yeah.
coming in, worrying times. I do feel for Sunderland. I know a Sunderland fan. It must be horrible. I haven't got my guess yet, have I?
No.
I was filling time. I'm just looking at the team list that you've got there.
right.
I will go with. I'll have to go with Middlesbrough.
No, you're wrong. Leeds United.
That's an oversight.
Yeah. But still 43,000 short of Villa, so that's great. Saturday was the strongest or the highest attendance for nearly 3 years since Man U in 2015.
Really?
Yeah, August 2015. Yeah. And the total 738,219 puts us among the top 10 clubs in England, higher than Chelsea and Everton.
Really? Higher than Chelsea?
Yeah, Chelsea's stadium isn't that big though, is it? So they might
It's
sell out.
40-odd thousand though, or Chelsea.
I think it might be there. Oh, yeah, it might be there or thereabouts.
Surprised at that.
Anyway, well done to all Villa fans. Good job there.
Tells you a lot, that does. Says a lot. Massive club. I don't care what anyone says.
Yeah.
Absolutely massive club.
And very, very well supported as well, so that's great. I want to talk a little bit about the under-23s. I know that you were following this as well. As we are recording this podcast,
Yeah, what's the score?
it's the playoff semi-final, the under-23s Premier League 2 playoff semi-final. So it's only a one-leg fixture, and they're playing Reading tonight. So by the time you listen to this, we'll know whether they're in the final or not.
0-0 at half time.
0-0 at half-time, there you go. And they're playing Brighton and Hove Albion in the final. Brighton have already made it.
Steve Bruce is there with his first team staff watching, probably looking at people to play on Saturday, I would think.
Yeah,
Sunday, sorry.
Potentially. It's also the under-23s are also through to the cup final.
Yeah.
To the Premier League Cup final. They beat Leicester 3-2 last Friday night.
Yeah, I saw. Good group that is we've got there.
And Leicester are a Premier League 1 team in this under-23s setup. So really, really good. Some promising young players coming through. We'd expect to see a few of those in at least pre-season.
Yeah, I'd expect to see, as I said, I'd expect to see some of them on Sunday, although I'm not sure when their next under-23s game. Is it Monday? So maybe we won't see any of them. Maybe that hinders the line-up possibilities a little bit as well. But fair play to them going to Leicester and getting that 3-2. But people like Callum O'Hare, Hepburn Murphy, Mitchell Clark, Keenan, I know he's been in and around the first team more than most. They've got futures.
Yep.
Hopefully at Villa.
Very much so. We're running out of time a little bit, but I did want to touch on there's been some news this week about the EFL programmes situation. So Football League is investigating currently whether it's worth or whether it should be required that EFL teams produce a programme. A lot of them are very expensive. People don't tend to buy as many programmes as they used to. They're obviously expensive to make, and most EFL clubs are making a loss on programmes. So do you like getting programmes? Would you get one of a regular day?
I haven't got one every game this season, but this season I've actually got it more times than not.
Yeah.
And it's a really nice publication this season. They've took the size down a little bit. I'm not sure how much that impacts on expenditure, but maybe that takes it down a little bit. I don't think anyone should have to do one. If it's making people lose money, then fine. If they're not selling them, then there's not much justification for them. But I don't know what Villa's programme sales are. But for me, as I see Villa as one of the traditional clubs, it wouldn't sit well if we didn't do one.
You've got to think that EFL stretches down obviously down to League Two, and there are clubs that are fighting for their future financially.
Yeah, they shouldn't have to do it.
Teams like Morecambe and whatnot, who, I mean, if it doesn't make any money, then why are you trying to put more pressure on them? So it's a really interesting situation. I'm looking forward to kind of seeing where that one plays out. But I think you're right. Teams like Villa can afford to do one, and also there's a lot of fans who collect them and
that's the
would like
thing.
to continue.
I mean, for Morecambe, it wouldn't be wise.
Oh, very good.
I had that brewing as soon as you said Morecambe.
That's excellent. Darren Bishop, thank you for that question on EFL
Apologies
programmes.
for that terrible pun.
Yeah, very, very good. The last thing I wanted to just talk about, have you seen this news about the Royal Dyche?
Pardon?
There's a pub in Burnley that are going to rebrand themselves the Royal Dyche. It used to be the Princess Royal, and they said that if Burnley qualified for Europe this season, then they would rename their pub after Sean Dyche. Interesting little story.
Yeah.
Kind of found it funny. Is there any... if you could name a pub after a Villa legend, what would you name your pub?
I've got a good one here. You'll like this. We shouldn't do a pub. We should do a takeaway that does fast food and call it One Kebablo and Girls.
Oh, very nice.
I've been asked a question like that before because I had that in my head straight away.
Did you?
As soon as you said
One
it.
Kebablo and Girls.
Obviously, it would be McGrath's, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
You would think.
I suppose it would.
Or McGregor's.
McGregor's, yeah. McGregor's.
I think you said Ewan McGregor then. Yeah, Ewan McGregor.
Very nice indeed. Dan, you're on fire with the jokes now.
Thanks.
Also, a nice joke, and this is going to move smoothly into my next topic of conversation.
I know what's coming, I think.
You did the warm up on Facebook Live. Is this what you think?
No, I thought you were going to talk about my goalkeeping performance.
Oh, yeah, well, that was a joke.
That was a joke. That would have worked better.
You did the warm up on AVFC official Facebook the other day. Yeah. I liked it. I watched it, and you had obviously Luke Roper one side, and then you were like, and I've got a Taylor on my other side.
I've turned into an old man using the puns at the moment. I need to stop doing it.
You need to write that one down. Yeah. How was Luke Roper? How was it?
Very nice.
Chat with him.
Really, really nice guy. Immediately when he came in, I felt like I'd known him my whole life, which is always a good sign when you meet someone. Just a very, very passionate man. Absolutely loves Villa. Couldn't wait to get talking about Villa. Just seemed like a genuine man, a family man, someone that loves Villa and someone that can't believe that this has happened to him and couldn't be happier. Yeah,
you could tell from watching it that he actually knew about Villa. He liked it. His kids were mascots, all that kind of stuff. If you don't know who Luke Roper is, he's the man behind Luke 1977, who are going to be the kit designer for Villa's new kit next season. How was he off the camera? I always find that interesting. Was he exactly the same?
Exactly the same. Yeah, I really liked him.
Yeah,
and him and Tails obviously knew each other. They were a bit of a handful to interview.
Yeah,
to be honest, they were both very lively. I mean, Luke was firing questions at me during the intro.
They're like big kids.
Yeah, Tails is like a big kid.
Yeah.
Anyway, at the best of times, but yeah, he's just a genuine guy. Nice bloke. And I thought I got myself a Luke 77 polo shirt.
Yeah.
For the show, because I didn't have any of his clothes before, so I thought I've got to try it out. And really, it's a nice garment.
Nice little plug. I think you can still get 20% off.
You can, yeah. It was tweeted yesterday.
Yeah, so if you look on social media for that, and I think it's on the website, the AVFC website as well.
I'm excited about that part. I know you and Tom spoke about it last week, so I won't go into too much detail, but I'm really excited for it. I like the fact that we're the first ones to pioneer something. Villa never, under previous regime, were never pioneers of anything except for like getting 17 points and and we're getting relegated. But now under this regime, we're getting an awful lot of things right, and I still think there's a lot of things that need to change and will be changed at the club. But in the main, everything they've done so far has been spot on for me.
I'll apologise to you as well as the viewers, because last week I made an apology. You remember a couple of weeks ago I said, when they announced it was going to be a first for football, all this kind of stuff, I was like, there's no way it's going to be an actual first. It's all a PR story.
Yeah, you did say that, didn't you?
I ate humble pie last week, and I'll say it to you as well, because you were quite excited, and I kind of felt like I put a dampener on.
Yeah, a mood killer you are.
Yeah. That's what my wife says.
Yeah, does she?
No, no, I hope not. Not to my face, anyway. Well, let's move on to. It's been a busy week for you.
Well, I've been on holiday. It was the week before, wasn't it? You just haven't seen me.
That's true. So you had your Soccer AM appearance. You were in goal for Snodgrass, Hurahan, and.
Jimmy Bullard,
the presenter of Soccer AM. How was it? Have fun?
Really good. I don't think I'll be asked back.
No,
I don't think I'll put it the best goalkeeper display you'll ever see. But I've got a couple of excuses up my sleeve for that. But it's really good. It was interesting for me to be around Bodymore. I mean, some people might think that I'm there all the time, and I'm not.
Yeah.
So I was watching the lads train a little bit as well, which I found really interesting. And you can just see that we have got a good group. Everything that we've said, I could tell when I was there, because I remember going to training when McLeish was manager on a tour, and it didn't feel the same as it did when I was there. This time, everyone seems happy. Everyone was working hard. They were putting a lot of graft in to the session, and obviously to meet Snodgrass and Connor was great. I met John Terry and Steve Bruce as well. John Terry just has an instant aura. As soon as I was talking to him, he probably didn't smell nice, but he felt like he was smelling nice. It felt like he was just a magnificent man, and I was in awe of him.
Such an odd thing to say.
No, it was a bit odd. But that was how I felt. He just had a presence.
Yeah. Do you feel a bit like a kid again?
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah,
He's just a legend of the game, isn't it? I imagine it was like when he walked into the dressing room a little bit for some of the players. I couldn't believe they were working with him. I was standing there talking to him thinking, I cannot believe he's captain of Aston Villa.
You must think, like you just said there, players like Jack Grealish will have literally watched him on telly and gone, wow, this guy is as England captain, is an absolute legend. I remember I saw Jack tweet that about Gabby Agbonlahor. So to play alongside the England captain,
it must be unbelievable.
It's just fantastic. Villa Mad asked who had the hardest shot.
Yeah, someone said he doesn't know, and that's very true. But what I can say is, by the time I'd realised that Snodgrass and Connor had shot, he was already in, and I managed to redeem myself slightly with a save from Bullard, but Connor was not happy at losing that. No. You're very competitive. He was not happy at losing. I don't know whether he was not happy at losing in general or not happy at losing to Snodgrass, but the tone was set with the first shot. Yeah. First shot, top corner. I didn't even see it. It was tough.
Good for Villa.
Yeah. I'm not a professional goalkeeper, so you'd imagine putting me up against professional footballers would end that way, and it did. I just looked slow on the video, and I wore knee pads, which I thought was a normal goalkeeping thing to do. Yeah, I thought that was a normal goalkeeping thing to do, but Steve Bruce took the mick out of me.
Oh, wow.
And then Jimmy Bullard took an absolute shine to them and started calling me skateboarder for the rest of the day and on camera, so that was good.
The only person that I've seen wear anything close to knee pads was Gabby Agbonlahor when he used to wear tracksuits.
I've got my knees are a bit gammy. Years of playing five-a-side, and I must say, five-a-side and seven-a-side, I'm a good goalkeeper.
Yeah, I've seen it before.
But put me in 11-a-side and I'm lost. You get there and the goals just look massive.
Yeah.
I felt like I couldn't move, and I was glued to the floor. I don't think I was covering my angles the best either. But I thought knee pads was a normal thing to wear. I wear them for five-a-side, but I've realised that playing on a carpet at the Recon complex, whatever it's called now, you probably don't need knee pads. And the last thing you want to do is draw attention to yourself in situations like that, and that's exactly what I did. Yeah,
we've seen Robert Snodgrass in a couple of little videos. Seems like an absolute laugh doing these kind of things. Seems to enjoy them. Is that how it felt whilst you were with him?
Yeah, I felt like all three of them, to be fair, were having a great time doing it. I mean, Bullard, obviously, I think he played with Snodgrass at Hull. Apparently, Hurahan used to clean
I saw that,
Bullard's boot, so they all knew each other. It was good banter, to be fair. It was very, very fun. I mean, not that I was particularly involved in the banter. I was just standing there having the ball fired past me, but it was a good laugh. It's a good experience for me to obviously go down there and do that, so it was great.
Unbelievable stuff. We did miss out one question. I say we, probably me.
Well, yeah, you're the one with the notes,
The man with the notes. Derek Cannon asks, would you prefer to finish mid-table in the Premier League or be a consistent Championship title contender?
Well, it's no good being a consistent Championship title contender if you're not. The ultimate goal is to go to the Premier League, isn't it? So I'd probably rather be mid-table in the Premier League.
Would you? Do you think
Mid-table, definitely,
so,
yeah.
So maybe I've done Derek's question a disservice there. Do you think has it been more fun to be competing this year?
Mate, I've had my fun. I've enjoyed it.
Yeah.
But I don't want to stick around in there.
Yeah.
I want to get back up with the big boys.
Yeah.
Villa shouldn't be in the Championship, and I know we are, and I know we're there because we deserve to be, because of how we performed. But we're a big club, and we should be in the Premier League. And if we don't get there this season, it will be deemed a failure, because that was what everyone said the remit was. So if we don't make it, it's a failure.
Yeah. A couple of comments from YouTube from last week. Cyber on Blue, great podcast again, fellas. Very professional. Robbo slotted in.
Because I wasn't there.
Yeah, that's it, man. Poor outro though, Tom.
Yeah, fair.
You forgot the old like, share, and subscribe bit.
Cyber knows. Why can't you know?
I always forget that bit, don't I?
You look like you'd forgotten where you were in the outro, like a rabbit in the headlights. A little bit.
It's because I don't really think about the outro until it's right on me, and then I realised that Robbo wasn't going to do it, so I definitely had to.
He definitely wasn't going to do it.
Craig Newton says, great job, boys. The caretaker slotted in brilliantly. There's a few references to the third team goalkeeper, the caretaker. He's got a few of those. Can't choose between Chester or Johnston for player of the season, but to be honest, I've been impressed by everyone. Thoroughly enjoyed this season, and what will be, UTV. Ultimately,
What will be, but I want us to go up.
JUNXS1. June XS1.
I mean, I wouldn't overthink it.
It's AST, Tom.
Yeah,
you idiot.
come on. I should have pulled you up on that earlier.
I mean, she didn't call me an idiot, but she pretty much did.
I have pulled you up on that before. An earlier video.
I thought you and I couldn't decide together.
No, it was always AST.
Okay, sorry about that.
Come on.
So that's the perils of not growing up in Birmingham.
The problem, Robbo as well was the same, wasn't he? He didn't know.
Yeah, I think he even led it, and
possibly, and you are a follower.
Yeah, very much so. I did. Admit my mistake on YouTube there.
Well done. And a bit of trouble with that phone there, aren't you?
Yeah, that's about it, really.
Yeah.
I think. Yeah, that's good.
Anything else?
I don't think so. I've gone through a lot of my notes. We'll go on to Millwall now on Sunday.
Yeah.
Like Craig said, what will be, and then we'll gear up for the playoffs.
So next podcast is the playoffs is looming large, isn't it?
Very much
Jeez.
so, yeah.
I really was hoping that we'd just go up automatically and I wouldn't have this potential despair.
It's going to be a nervy podcast.
I'm nervous now just thinking about it.
It's starting to sweat.
No, it's horrible because you watch the playoffs, and obviously growing up and for the last however many years we've never been a part of that. We've always been in the Premier League, so it's something you've always watched and thought, this is good fun, this is really entertaining, but I wouldn't want to be doing it.
Yeah.
And now we're going to be those ones where all the other teams are watching saying, I wouldn't like to be in that position, but isn't it fun?
Yeah, heart in the mouth, feel a bit sick, a couple of pints in and you wish you hadn't had them.
I wouldn't dare drink, I don't think.
Look forward to all
At
of
the
that.
playoffs, wouldn't dare.
No,
I'm nervy about it, Tom, but excited a little bit.
Save it for next week, mate.
Yeah. Oh, God, the playoff special. The playoff special next week.
It's already got a name.
Yeah. God. That it?
That's it.
We done? Shall I do the outro?
Take it.
Yeah.
You haven't been here for a while.
That's true. Maybe I'll put in a Julian-esque performance on the outro. No.
4 out of 10.
Yeah, not that high. Thank you very much for listening or watching this podcast. I've really enjoyed being back, actually, because it has been 2-3 weeks since I've done one, so it has felt good being back in the booth. Obviously, we mentioned it at the start, but if you could support us in the Football Blogging Awards, that would be very much appreciated. We are quite proud of the podcast, and we do put a lot into it and want it to be good, and I've tried to have high standards, although sometimes that probably hasn't always shown. We're glad that people really enjoy it, so any support you can give us. When I'm around Villa Park and people come up and speak to me, they always say the podcast is my favourite thing on the Villa View.
I said this earlier, we have listeners from Mississippi, from Australia, from Detroit, all over the place. And
ridiculous.
And from the Nordic countries as well. It's surreal to hear that, but an absolute pleasure to do it. So Thank you for that. Thank you for your feedback. Thank you for listening, for your reviews and everything. Yeah,
there'll be a match preview coming up on the Villa View before the game on Sunday at some point, so keep your eyes peeled for that. And if you didn't watch fan cams after the Derby game, that's on our YouTube channel as well, so go back and check that out. I think it was possibly the biggest queue for fan cams there's ever been. I think I was there for an hour and 15 minutes after the game or something ridiculous, so plenty of people wanting to get their say ahead of what's going to be a playoff campaign for Villa. If you're not already subscribed to the Villa View with your post notifications on, if you could do that, that would be absolutely fantastic, and give this video a like also if you have enjoyed it. And if you feel like giving us a good review on iTunes, if you listen via that medium, that would also be muchly appreciated by us all. Leave your comments on YouTube podcast of this video if you can as well, and we'll try and interact with as many of you as possible. I'm quite tired from that outro now, so thanks again for listening, and thanks for all your support of the Villa.
Help the Villa.
If you enjoyed that video, why not watch another? Click the video choices on screen now to go and watch them in full. Be sure to subscribe to the channel by clicking our logo there on the left. Easy peasy.